Alright, so today we're going to take a look at the worm bin, and last time I checked it we were about ready to pull out some of the worm castings, so we're going to do that today. Pull them out, and I've got a sifter outside that I'll sift them through to get rid of any of the pieces that are kind of bigger and any worms that might still be in the castings. Looks like they're all over the sides today, so get all these guys back in. So this area right here, it's nice and dark and crumbly. There's still bits of, look like eggshells and some stickers that were on the fruit maybe and stuff in there, but we're going to scoop out that section, put it in a bucket, take it outside and sift it through, and we'll bring back any worms we find that we pull out of it. It looks like there's still a decent amount of worms in that side, even though I haven't been feeding it the last couple times on this side, but you can still see there's still some food stuff in there, and worms still quite a bit over there. So we're going to scoop all this out, take it outside and sift it, and then bring the worms back and add them to this far side where they've been having food and more bedding and everything that they like. So we'll scoop out quite a bit of worm castings here. It's probably 2 gallons worth maybe by volume, so we'll see what we end up with after we sift through it and everything. I'll show you what that'll look like. I got a screen I set up with just some scrap lumber and a 1/4-inch cardboard cloth that we'll use to screen out the smaller chunks from the big pieces of food that are left. So this is the first time I've taken castings out of here, so we've had the bin about 7 months, and first time taking anything out of it. It's just constantly been adding to it over time. If you go back and look at the first videos, you can see it was quite a small pile we started with on one side of the bin when we first began, and then have just continued to add to it until now, where we're going to go ahead and reap the benefit of all this work we've been doing these last months, and see what we can get for some castings that we can use to spread around the garden as we have our fall crops starting to grow. So So this is a lot wetter than it should be to screen it out. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna dump some on the screen, throw and pull out the worms I can, let it dry out for a bit, and then try to screen it out, and hopefully that will make it easier to be able to screen out the castings that are usable right now. So I'm just going to kind of keep weeding through, getting most of the worms out of here so that they don't cook in the summer sun and heat while it dries out a bit. And I'm getting as many worms and eggs as I'm seeing that I can grab without being too particular on it, but trying to get the majority of usable worms to put back in the bucket. So that's what I got going here. The kids decided to come out and help me for a bit too, so that was interesting and a little fun. A lot of hands in here grabbing at the worms, and makes for chaos, but I like having them help out and participate every now and then. So won't really ever turn them away, but sometimes it's frustrating. So here's what I got going. I'll do this, and then I'll update you guys as I go. After I let this dry for a bit, maybe I'll show you guys what that looks like as I start sifting it and screening through this 1/4-inch mesh screen, and give you guys a little bit of an update at that point, and then also probably at the end of it I'll give you a little update on how much castings I got out and how much worm and unfinished material I got that I'll put back in the worm bin. Show you what all that looks like as well. So I'll check in with you guys later. Alright, so now that I went through and pulled out the worms and eggs that I saw while I sifted through, this is what we got here. I put a little bit of leaves and dirt in here to kind of start with, so they had a little bit of somewhere to go and hide from the sun a little bit, but otherwise this is mostly leaves. Some big chunks from the compost, from the castings, and then any of the eggs that I saw and worms that I saw I plucked out and popped in here. So it's probably about a gallon worth of material here total. There's probably just as many worms in this bucket right here as what I started my worm bin with in December, so 7 months ago approximately. And this is probably how many worms I started with when I got the whole shebang started, but clearly this is not but a fraction of them now, as this is just what was in the old castings, and not ones that had migrated over towards the new food and bedding that I had put in there over the last 3 weeks or so. So this is just a small amount of what I have for worms currently, but it's probably about what I started with 7 months ago. So obviously they've multiplied quite a bit as worms do, and I probably could even start an entire another bin with these if I wanted, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and add these back to the other bin and keep that bin going for the time being. I may decide to start another one, split it, or I may just decide to pull some worms out and put them in the chicken run. Have the chickens have a little snack on some fresh worms. So we'll see what happens. But this is what we got for an update for today. I'll check with you guys later.